Doubles and coffee. Well, Marvelous Marv and the PNM, all you real good boy. I thought you'd have stayed quiet for at least 6 months after you come out and talk such abject nonsense, bringing race talk square back into Trinidad and Tobago and everybody rejecting you, including your former Prime Minister Keith Rowley, who chose you at WASA because you knew nothing about WASA, nothing about water, and you didn't know that leaks break pressure. And if you have many leaks on the flat, that people in the hills will not be able to get water. You had more time to look at a function when cutting ribbon to see which man was driving which van. And that incensed you because the wrong man was in the wrong van. Now you come out and jump out yourself when Keith Rowley, accused you of lying on him first of all, misrepresenting anything that he said in cabinet. When you lie and say about Keith Rowley, if you take a board by him, he will ask you about if it's this, that, and you lie, you concoct. Rowley say you lie, your Prime Minister say you lie, the man who you was trying to big up say you lie. And then on top of that, Marvelous Marva, Rowley said that your language was inelegant. You're talking about you're seeing Bangladesh and Delhi. You don't even know that Bangladesh is a country and Delhi is a city. And then talking about not understanding what is Trinidad and Tobago. How you even see race. You must see grace in people's face. But Rowley and all say you inelegant. Imagine that. Rowley, the least elegant human being on God's green earth, criticize you and laugh at you. Your political career over, Marvelous Marvin. Best you keep all your Eli suit, measure your inseam, and hold it there. You still jump out the top. But the UNC had no plan and unprepared for the crime fight because a 65-inch TV was found in the jail. Marvelous Marvin, first and foremost, you was there 10 years. You sat in a cabinet. Well, you was there 5 years, but PNM was there 10 years. You sat in a cabinet and you sat in a government and you was in Balize House as Stuart Smallpin Young was the Minister of National Security who got silver medal and bronze medal for the most murderous years in the history of Trinidad and Tobago. 519, and then he followed it up with 539, only surpassed by a previous PNM minister, Martin Joseph, of 2008 with 550. Marvelous Marva, you was in the cabinet taking water away from people because Kamala and Gangasingh had 74% of the population getting 24/7 supply, and you took it down by 2023 to 12%, a decrease of 62%. You take away life-saving water from people and sat down in a cabinet with the minister Fitzgerald Etelbert Pomsite Hines wooden ladder ride a horse with an 8-year-old boy narcolepsy sleepy Sativa Hines, and he broke Smallpin record PNM for PNM on PNM and took it up to 622 murders. You sat in a cabinet as everything around the national security collapsed. Murders started to increase across the board. Home invasion, kidnapping, wounding, shooting, beating, all over the place. You couldn't even sip a beer or rum and soda on the avenue without dodging bullet. And you have the audacity to suggest and say publicly that because they find a TV, we're still just giving an example of complicity, that what the PNM has allowed to take root, that even in our national security apparatus, people are assisting criminals. You come out and say the UNC have no plan. Let me tell you something. Number one, the UNC have many plans, and fighting crime is not one simple thing. It's not only up to the Minister of National Security, meaning the Minister for the borders, Homeland Security, and for national security and so on. It is for all of us, because you as the PNM not only oversaw the decay of our society from disciplined family, poor parenting, poor education across the board, creating a petri dish for criminal activity. You all created across the board through your policy of a new society where you wean the taxpayers off their money and you, the rich, get richer, and the cabinet recuses itself and friends and families become billionaires and man in tight suit become landlord and earn $148.5 million in 9 years, but then telling people they're fighting for poor CPEP people. You change the distribution of resources across this country that will take decades to rectify. You took resources out of the mouths of hungry people, of people who are most at need, creating a situation of desperation. Your government policy created an atmosphere where criminal activity would thrive, and you have the audacity to say the UNC has no plan. The UNC has hit the ground running to undo all of the damage that you all have done, whether it is in national security apparatus, the lack of equipment, the lack of scanners, the lack of helicopters, the air guard where 23 pilots left and they have no plane with no scanners. You have no helicopters to help the police do surveillance and interdict people and criminals. You have no scanners running around. The port scanners break down. Guns coming in. No diesel for the vessels. Even the cutlass vessels that Smallpen and Rowley buy mash up, and there were no vessels to patrol our borders. 7 miles of the Gulf of Paria. Across there with your friends, your government friends, with Tren de Agua and Venezuelan immigrants coming across left, right, and center without vetting, without knowing who come in, what they come in with. You all left our country exposed, and now we are suffering. The UNC, Kamala Prasad-Bissessar, have the plans and are implementing it one by one coming across the board. Not only would get increasing the resources to the DPP and the judiciary and creating a system, and not only that, we appointed a substantive police commissioner without interference, without going and having no tea with no president and getting the president to breach Constitution, Section 123(4). We didn't handpick any commissioner who would just do our bidding, who would leave PNM ministers who could be charged easily like that. No-brainer cases where money jump out from MTS into man's personal account, where Rowley didn't fill out his integrity form B, where indemnity was signed with a criminal over usurping the authority of the DPP, where a woman danced away with cash, say she take it out from here, but it never had nothing in there that come out. Y'all are the PNM that have created a web of corruption, incompetence, and sickness in this country. And Marvelous Marva, you dare come out in your Eclipse Eli measured suit with a bus route pass to come and tell me UNC don't have a plan because a 65-inch TV was found in the prison? How things getting in the prison? How phone getting in the prison after 10 years? How everything still running smooth for criminal? How we have to pay for UK? Why we need visa to go to the UK now when PNM cabinet ministers forming company with gangsters and liming with gangsters and making money with gangsters? You have the audacity to criticize the UNC. You should hush. Rowley tell you to hush, Marvelous Marva. You should keep quiet. Understand? Furthermore, that your economic policies under Colm Dwayne Imbert and your austerity measures for years have created a situation of lack of opportunity. When you create lack of opportunity and do not help those most in need, but you help the rich get richer and you help your friends and family and financiers and increase and renew their CPEP contracts for $50,000 a month for 3 years extra and so on, while people suffering for baby milk grant, and you cut laptop, you cut textbook, you cut school feeding, you cut assistance, you cut grants, you cut sport funding, you cut funding to UTT, you close down THTTI, you close down 4 NESE centers, you close down 8 MIC centers, you cut gate funding from 726 million under Fazal Karim in 2014 down to 285 million. You cut opportunities for sport, you cut funding for football, you cut funding for cricket, you cut funding for sports days, you cut funding for grants and books and textbooks and everything, and make people suffer. On top of that, we're suffering from job loss and inflation, stagflation, creating pressure on an economy and a people who exacerbated by a foreign exchange crisis because only the rich get the money, only the secret few could get the US. but other businesses shut down and closed down. People have to pay extra black market, increasing cost, increasing price. You allow a monopoly and oligopoly on pharmaceuticals so that poor people can't afford their medicine. Create a situation of anger, vexation, traffic situation, people frustrated. You create a petri dish for criminal activity and anger, and then have the audacity to say the UNC don't have a plan. We are the plan. The first stage of the plan is get rid of the PNM forever. Don't let the PNM come back. Get rid of incompetence. Get rid of a cabinet of unqualified buffoons, and then implement. We have a budget coming. We have plans coming. We have a commissioner of police who is independent and will do his work. The ministers of national security will get the resources and the technology for them to fight crime, not just leave them out there. The judiciary will get funding so that they can speed up the judicial process. The DPP office will get more lawyers. You all left them there, 37% of the lawyers. So the plan is there. It will take time to undo the quagmire feces left by you and the PNM. You all was not just no joke. You all was not just a little bit bad. You all were pathetically incompetent, malicious, wicked, and useless. And it takes time to undo that sort of stupidity. So we will let the population know that the first thing they did to save Trinidad and Tobago was to reject the PNM on April 28th. And they must continue to reject the PNM every single day, especially when they hear ridiculous, asinine, illogical, pathological statements like you marvelous marvel. You should have sit down, lie down home where you get catch with the two man and them. What you was doing electricity, you was doing masonry, you was doing carpentry. What you was doing, tell us, because I want to know about the man in the van who was driving the wrong van also. You should have sit down there and hush, because you were part and parcel of the worst, most incompetent government that decimated our country, divided our country, damaged the tapestry of who we are. The USA, Canada, European Union sending out advisory after advisory under your PNM tenure for the people not to go to Trinidad and Tobago. Investors running from here. Negative foreign direct investment for 4 years straight. Guyana booming and we suffering. We start to bunker and bring fuel from Jamaica, $90 million. All you start to give senior council bunkering contracts. That's what you did, you and the PNM, while people suffering and opportunities taken away. People that are waiting in the health sector, rat running and swimming when it flooding in the hospital, no medicine, no oncology drugs. All of these create a situation where lack of opportunity, lack of fairness, lack of upward mobility creates the atmosphere of a criminal activity. Kamala Prasad, Bissessa, and the UNC will attack all of this one at a time, each one at a time, simultaneously. The crime situation will be dealt with, but it will be dealt with in a holistic manner, an intelligent manner, by competent people who are qualified so to do, not people who don't know that leaks does break pressure. Marvelous Marvin, you blithering idiot. Hush your mouth, boy. To the rest of Trinidad and Tobago, bless.